Welcome, welcome. Hey guys, welcome to the Victory Life Podcast. We're back. Wanted to talk to you guys about flirting. So, everybody, go ahead and get cozy in the chat. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I want you to go ahead and start getting comfortable. Pop your questions in the chat. I want to hear from you guys. I'm curious to know, how do you guys feel about Christians who flirt? Do you guys think we should be flirting? Or do you think it's a bad idea? I'm kind of curious. Let me know. Let me know in the chat. If you guys have questions, I'll take your questions. Let me know. Everybody pop it in the chat. Let me know what you think. Do you think Christians should be flirting? Do you think they should not be flirting? I am curious to know. Now, I mean, on the one hand, I see people hopping on in here. Welcome, everybody. Let me know where you're watching from. I mean, on the one hand, I'm assuming that it's you got to figure out how to get together some way. And so this topic comes to mind for a few different reasons. Let me fix my little machine here. This topic comes to mind for a few different reasons. I just came back from a Christian conference, and it was like both genders at the conference. So it wasn't a conference for people to meet up. It wasn't for people to like meet up, get together. It wasn't for that. But I think, naturally people go meet in person, and then the conversation comes up about, should people be flirting? Should numbers be exchanged? And all the good stuff. You know what, guys? Give me just a second. I'm going to have to switch my angle here. Give me 1 minute. Hate to do it, pero we about to do it. All right, you guys good? I think that's a little bit better. It's a little weird in here. So yeah, I wanted to understand from y'all, like, what you think the best approach should be. Welcome, welcome. Hey, I wanted to hear from y'all what you thought the best approach would be. The topic has come up on, should we flirt, yes or no, as Christians? Because I just went to a Christian conference. It had, both genders there. It wasn't like an all women's conference. It was a faith-based conference for abstinent Christians. So all of us were getting together just in person to meet, greet, talk, all the good things, right? But naturally, when you get men and women in the same room, the question becomes, are we gonna meet? Are we gonna exchange phone numbers? Are we gonna take it offline? You guys know how all that goes. So these things started to like happen at the conference. These things started to happen, but I mean, I'll be honest with you. Can I talk real? I know this is gonna be super, super weird, but I feel like I have evolved on this topic. I have evolved on this topic. So I just got off of like a group call with like the inner circle of people that went to the conference, right? So we had like a debriefing call. Everybody was talking about their experience, and it was actually, it was really nice to get together with people like-minded people who, going through the same thing in their Christian walk. On the call, one of the gentlemen just asked this question, and I thought it was such a good question, y'all. He was like, were you guys, as women, he's like, were you guys looking for something at the conference? And like, did the men meet your expectations with how we handled things? Could we have done things differently? He was asking, like, should they have been should they have approached in a more intentional way? Should they have been a bit more laid back? That was the question. So I thought it was a great question, y'all. I didn't say anything. I didn't say anything. A lot of the women on the call are very vocal, so I just let them speak. And I am just re-engaging in the group, so I mean, I'm not gonna say anything. But I thought to myself, I've had some lessons learned this year around this whole topic of flirting and all this stuff. So I wanted to give you my thoughts, because it's like a couple of things. like my Christian abstinent group brought up the topic because of the men and women at the conference. You know, some of the women were trying to figure out basically how they could shoot their shot. Okay, this is what was going on the call. Like the women were like, hey, how do we figure out if the men of God want us, and like, are we supposed to just go shoot our shot? Like, what's the deal here? And the conference wasn't specifically in order for people to get together. Like, that's not what the conference was for. The goal wasn't for men and women to, that wasn't the goal. The goal wasn't for men and women to become a thing. It was literally, we were there sharing our abstinence journey, worshiping the Lord, you know, getting to know each other just socially. Okay. But again, men and women get in the same room and all these conversations start coming up. So, I didn't go there like trying to move forward with anyone. That wasn't my expectation. I didn't go there shooting my shot. Okay. I didn't do all that. I went there. I connected with, my goal was to go there and get fellowship, which, you know, I enjoyed people. I left. I'm admittedly very bad about following up with anyone. That's just been my flaw since I was 3. My friends would move. Oh yeah, I'm gonna write you. I write them maybe once, and that was it. And I haven't changed much. So I thought it was such a cool topic, though. I thought it was such a cool topic because it showed the women, and it showed how the women were trying to like, you know, get in there and figure out what the journey would be like in terms of flirting. You saw the men in the same boat wanting to figure out what is the boundary. Like, should they go in and like try to get numbers? Is it okay? How should that have gone? How could it have gone better? And I was just sitting on the phone giggling. Y'all know me. I was just giggling the whole time. So, so I wanted to ask you guys the question because, you know, it was a few months ago. It was probably like 6 months ago. I was still in school, and there's this major Christian social media influencer. He's a super young guy. You guys probably know, I'm not going to say the names, but he's a super young guy. He does a lot of public speaking. He got saved and now he preaches the gospel. He's doing evangelism, and he's very popular, very edgy looking, and he gets a lot of attention. Okay. He gets a lot of attention. So with this gentleman who is, you know, doing his evangelistic things, what I've observed is that it seems like he also hosts meetings where people can get together one-on-one. He does the same thing. And what he says is like, and he also has like monthly Zoom meetings and like group chats and stuff like that. So people are able to like engage with him more. They do their Bible study over Zoom, etc. And it's a private Zoom. You pay money, blah, 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 that thing. So he was really clear because he could see in his chat, because you know how when we're like content creators and we do a chat and people are like throwing comments in the chat, he's already been observing that, you know, there's this dynamic in the chat where the men are hitting on the women. You're seeing that. And so he's already checked the dudes in the chat for hitting on the women. He's like, hey, we're here for Bible study. None of that. And so I noticed he's checked them. And pretty harshly, may I add. I'll just add a little pretty harshly. Like, he's very strict about that. He's like, we're not here for that. We're not here for that. We're here for the gospel. And then it came to mind, a few months ago, I was at church and a guy hit on me at church, and you know, it's fine. Like, I didn't think anything of it. I didn't go there with him, but I didn't think anything of it. Didn't think anything good, didn't think anything bad. I just didn't think anything. And so if, using my own experience, somebody hit on me at church and I wasn't receptive, right? Let's just be honest, I wasn't receptive. And if I'm in Bible study and that Bible study host over there, like the hip young pastor guy is like, dudes, don't hit on my girls in the group, just stop that. if inside of this Bible studies, there's not an opportunity for people to get together, if in the church we don't get receptive, and then when we go to Christian conferences where there's men and women, if people are not willing to like step up and like say, hey, my name is so and so, I'm interested, I think you're cute, I like you, I'd like to give you my phone number, let's move forward. If we never ever do that, then how do we ever move forward? Then how do we do it? Is the question. On the other side of this story, I just want to say that I've had to evolve on this because I used to say that it was like probably a good idea for men and women to start off as friends. I used to say that, oh, start off as friends and then like let it grow into something, it's fine. But you know what? I realized that that might work when you're 20 or when you're still in college. But as like grown people, you know, you 5 years out of college, grown people, when you're giving out your phone number, you legit don't want to, you don't want to have to figure out whether this person is interested in you, not interested. Are they calling you because they like you, or they just like you? Like, I don't think anybody wants to deal with that. And certainly when you're grown and you've been chatting with someone for a while, you don't want to get to the point where you're like, oh, I've been talking to them for 6 months. They don't like me? Dang, I'm surprised. So what I'm saying is I'm looking at all the different forms that I have access to, and I'm looking at how they're managed. There's like this Bible study that is online from this really cool content creator, and he's like, absolutely no, dudes, do not holler at the girls in the chat. Do not do that. That's not what this is for. This is not a dating service. It's a Bible study. So he's like, don't do it. He's cut it off. And that's his Bible study. He can run his Bible study like that, right? So he's cut it off. Then in church, you know, maybe the girl is receptive, maybe she's not, maybe, you know, I don't know. I have mixed feelings about the church meetups, because if you're at a small church, the problem is if you date them, everybody knows. If you're at a big church, it doesn't matter, because if that's where you go personally to worship God, then you don't want it tainted by all the different people you dated if it doesn't work out. So I don't know. So if you've got the issue with the church being like, that's the place where you worship God and you want your intimacy with God. You got the Bible studies where people are like, I don't really want you doing that in my study. We're here to like learn the word. And then you've got the Christian conferences where the guys are afraid to give their numbers to the girls. Evidently, I just got off a call and it sounds like if I read between the lines, there are men who wanted to give out their phone numbers and there are women who wanted to be hit on, and that just didn't happen. It just didn't happen, you know? And then, you know, like, so I just want to know, what do you guys think about flirting? I want to know, because inside of the world, I know how the game is played. I know how to do that. I know how to get a man in the world by the world standards. I know how to do that. And I know all women who are in the faith and Christian still know how to reach back to the world and get themselves a man. They still know how to do it. They know exactly what to do. They know what to wear, what to say, what to do, and it still works. But there's this whole thing inside of like the Christian world, inside of the little box of Christians, our little small little box, that we come to Jesus and all of a sudden, like all of that breaks, and then people don't even know where to start. And then when they do start, things don't work out, all weird and awkward. The forums, not allowed to do it here, allowed to do it there, blah, blah, blah. And then you got all these quote unquote friendships where someone likes the other person and then it's not reciprocated. And they're like, oh no, you're my brother. Oh no, you're my sister. Oh really? I liked you. So there's all of this weird stuff in between. So given all of that, I just want to throw the questions out there just for like all the inquiring minds. I just want to understand, do you guys think Christians should actually be flirting? Because to be quite honest with you, when I'm dealing with someone that's from the world, What do I do to get their attention? I flirt. Shamelessly, I do. I flirt. I don't say, hey, I like you, but I let them know I like them. And then they get the message and then they do what they're supposed to do, ask for the phone number, blah, 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 blah. Step 2, step 3, step 4. So my question is, inside of the Christian faith, inside of the people who are men of God, women of God, how are you guys doing this? Are you guys doing this because you're still flirting? Or do you think flirting is like a no-no? I'm just curious. I just want to know. Okay, let me just hop in here and start getting into questions. All right, I'm going to start over here. I noticed a bunch of stuff going on over here. Let's see. And we're on Victory Life Podcast 7603. Let's see what you got here. Ba-ba-da-ba-dum. All right. I see here, for some the answer is yes, and for some the answer is no. Let's see. Someone said, what type of Christian conference? I went to a conference for abstinent Christians. So everybody there is at least attempting to walk in abstinence if they are not been active for a while in it. So, by default, that's a very niche group. So at the end of the day, if you have two people who are both walking, not just Christian, meaning I believe in Jesus, but also they have the same spiritual discipline, it makes for a nice combination, because then you don't have to have like this whole tug of war. So people basically, when people liked each other at the conference, they were trying to get together. Yeah, that was going on. And some of them, it was a fail. I'm happy. I wasn't there for getting together, so I'm happy. So I was just asking. Someone says, you still up? You're not playing around? It's early over here. It's still 10:30. I mean, I just got off of a call, so I'm wide awake. Let's see if there's anybody else. Someone says, I wouldn't call it flirting. Well, I mean, if you're giving someone the idea that you like them without saying it, I don't know what else to call it. I mean, I think that's flirting. If you're giving them the idea, like, I'm interested, twirling your hair, giggling unnecessarily, all the little things. I mean, to me, you're trying to give them the impression that you like them without saying it, because you're trying to be a little bit reserved so that you're not like coming on too strong. So that's flirting. However you do it, if it's just giving them time and attention, phone numbers and chit chat, or if it's actually twirling your hair, smiling unnecessarily and laughing, some kind of way you've got to say you like them without saying you like them, I think. I'm going to hop over here to these questions. Y'all pop your questions in the chat. I'm curious to know what you think. I'm curious. Someone said, I think the meetup should be about the common goal of living for God and not getting a bunch of singles with no safety implementation in place. So the actual meetup wasn't a singles event. The meetup was for people to get together and just have fellowship with like-minded believers. The meetup actually was not at all a singles event. It was not at all intended to be for people to get together and become couples. That's not what it was for. But that being said, when you get men and women in the same group, that's what tends to happen. If you think someone's cute and you realize this is somebody who's cute, they believe in Jesus, they live a certain lifestyle, you're trying to make sure you wife them up or husband them up some kind of way. You're trying to like get that going so that you have a continued conversation after the conference. All right, let's see what else we got to say here. Well, I guess there's some safety protocols, yet not ample yet. This is just my perspective, and I may not have all the details. So I'm not complaining about the meetup. I had a great time. just for clarity, I had a great time. I thought it was awesome, legit. I'd recommend it. All the good things. I have no complaints. I was just wondering, because I think it highlights a struggle, not just that what happened at the meetup, but I think it just highlights a struggle of like, I think it highlights a struggle of like, how do Christians actually engage with one another? How should we engage with one another in a way that's both appropriate and moving things forward and clear? Because it sounds like there were different genders talking, and from what I could understand, people maybe liked each other, but they didn't know how to escalate it into, hey, like I want to maybe talk to you one on one. I want to maybe try to figure out how we could meet. I want to figure out how we could have coffee or whatever. They didn't get to those pieces, and it seems like some of them wanted to do that. The answer is, I believe me as a man would not flirt unless I'm comfortable with the relationship moving from what's your name to courtship. Got it. So we got a no to flirting. And then we said, I like the idea that I think harshly reprimanding the dudes helps keep things in perspective. Sort of a whole what you're not changing, you're choosing sort of mindset. Oof. Then someone says we call it Sosei School of Spiritual Empowerment. I'm not familiar with that one. The mindset and mentality of flirting can be kind of tricky to discern of which motivation the flirting is of. Is it see a hot girl and go after her, or is it seeing the content of her character and talking? It's about the relationship with the father, not waiting, preparing. Then it says, where do you differentiate attraction from the idolatry of lust? Very good question. That's a very good question. Let me tinker on that for a second. That's like a whole thing. Somebody said, where do you differentiate attraction from the idolatry of lust? I think when you're attracted, it's just that like you see someone across the room and you're like, I think that they have attributes that are generally pleasing to the eye. I think that's what someone being attractive is. But then when it's lust, you're using it for selfish pleasure. Like you're tinkering on it in a way that God didn't intend for you to. So you're going from, I can see someone across the room, they have, physical attributes that generally are pleasing to the eyes of most people. I can acknowledge that. But it's not that you're thinking about them in a way that is ungodly or undressing them with your eyes. But when you go from they're pleasing to look at in general to undressing them with your eyes, I think it becomes lust. So yeah, that's what I think. I think a person who's disingenuous towards another person is the base of the problem or possible problems to arise. The whole thing being friends first is to me unwise at any age. If I make a girl my friend, then I'm able to see her in a romantic light. It speaks to my lack of restraint and self-control. Ouch. Somebody went there. Ooh, ouch. If you're my friend to the end. LOL. The next one is never been on a date in a live, not even a touch. I keep my heart pure. Gotcha. So you never been on a date in your life. Gotcha. And then I will open up the evil. Let's see. I didn't finish getting that sentence. A person is either genuine or disingenuous in their intent towards others. Boom. I choose the one that has my heart now. I prepare, proving my love forever. You will suffer for love. Hello there, P. This is way too deep. If two people are feeling each other, they're more open and accepting of flirting. If one party is not, usually the flirting comes off as creepy and or unchristian. Ooh, you guys are good tonight. I got y'all right early enough where y'all all ate your dinner, so you got your full energy, and y'all got a little sass going on today. I see. What's going on, people? We're talking about flirting. Someone said fellowship where singles are should be expected to find a Christian spouse. Look, I'm with you on that. So I think flirting can be seen as more intimate. So I think here's the thing. I don't know, maybe I haven't been plugged in properly, close enough to enough church, but I think churches have a responsibility to partner with other churches, is what I think. I think all of the churches in the region need to get together, have a partnership to do singles events. And the singles events should bring their singles there, singles in the faith there, and give them a chance to mingle amongst each other so people can find a partner within the body of Christ. It doesn't necessarily need to be at the same church. That's what I think they should do. I think people need to have like basically one big, the regional, all of the churches of the region, all of the singles of the region, they need to have one conference just for singles, just for the purpose of meeting, getting together, and trying to see if people can find someone. That's what I think. I think they need to have that so that their Bible study can just be Bible study. And when it comes down to dating, they can still have an area that's curated for dating that is safe and doesn't have to be specifically their church home. Because honestly, I'm not trying to date somebody from my church and then if it doesn't work out, see them at my church every Sunday. I'm not really trying to do that. But I mean, you gotta find your churchy man, your man of God someplace, right? I don't really want to see them at my church. I mean, it's good if we're married and then we go to the same church, but I don't really like get them at the church, date them for 6 months. Oh, 2 months. Oh, no, never mind. And then I see them every Sunday. That's not for me. That's not for me. That's not for me, y'all. So I don't know. It'd be confusion with snakes or fakes, as I call it. Ooch. Somebody, y'all are strong in that chat tonight. I want to let y'all know. Somebody ate well. Somebody's got their full energy. You guys are funny tonight. Yeah, so I've evolved on the topic. Me being, I'm not going to even call myself a former reformed flirt. I will probably still say, and I'm not, by the way, this is my journey. And I got to preface whenever I do something weird that I know maybe it may not be socially acceptable in the Christian faith. Sometimes I'll speak to you guys and I'll tell y'all my journey, but it doesn't mean that I'm advising you to do it. This is one of those moments. So in my own little journey, I've been quite of a flirt, right? So before, when I wasn't saved, I was a flirt. I probably would say now, I mean, I haven't flirted with anybody in a long time, but I still can be. I still have it in me. I still can be. Now, here's the thing that I've evolved on. In my BC days, I could actually go after somebody. I could ask for their phone number. I could go up to them. I could talk to them, all the things. That's in my BC days. Do I still have it in me? Yes, I still have it in me. But the question is, should we do it as women? You know what? I don't, honestly, here's my position on it. And it's not really well thought out, but it's just my position on it. I'm sure I could evolve again. When I hear another woman say, because I understand how hard dating is for women of God. You know, I'm not talking about women of the world. Dating is easy for women in the world. Trust me, it's easy. I have date 3 times a day if I wanted to in the world. Women of God, it's different. I don't want to get into the reasons why it's different. It just is. It's hard for me to put it all into words in 1 minute. It's different. So when a woman of God's like, oh, you know, I want to shoot my shot. I want to let somebody know that I like them, just in case they're quiet or shy. Honestly, I just like, okay. I just say, okay. Now, I don't know if I feel the same way personally. I don't know if I feel, because for me, when I was in the world and I shot my shot, I think it's, I don't know if I have the right words for it, but I think men have taken me less seriously if I initiate. I'll just say that. I think if I have said, hey, we're not saying that I'm asking them out, or not saying that I'm asking them on a date, and not saying that I'm paying for a date. I'm saying if I go up to them and I start and initiate it, and then we end up, you know, whatever. I don't know if they've taken me that seriously. I think for them, they needed the chase. So when a woman of God says, oh, like, I just want to like let the person know that I, you know, a little bit, throw myself out there a little bit so I don't miss an opportunity. I don't begrudge them for doing that, because I know how exactly hard it is for women of God. And I know how few men of God there are. And I just know how it is. I know it's like, I feel like we're in a cage and it's just like a battle, right? So I get it. And I just don't really say much, like, whatever, shoot your shot. But like for me, I don't know about it, y'all. I don't know about it, y'all. I don't. And maybe it's a seasonal feeling. So I wanna just preface it with that because I could evolve on it. It's a seasonal. Maybe it's a seasonal feeling, but we're not shooting shots out here. We're not doing it. I'm not saying that I'm really like when someone comes to me and they're like, oh, I want to shoot my shot. There's this man of God and blah 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 blah, and he seems really quiet. I just want to make sure I don't miss the chance. I'm not saying I don't. I hate them for that. I'm not saying that. I'm just more in the lines of he can do that part. He can do that part, and I really don't know the proper way for them to do it because when you think of it, like the guy in Bible study just said, the one from 6 months ago, he was like, men, do not be shooting your shot up in this chat. He was like, no, we're in Bible study. So he like cut it off. And then when you think about church, gosh, that's kind of intense. If you're in church and someone hits on you and then it goes bad, and that's your church that you love, ugh, that could be really terrible. And then that's complicated. I come all the way back to there needs to be a specific way in our not just our church, but like all of the churches within a 100-mile radius are part of one pool that have one conference to meet. I think we need to give them a chance to meet, greet, mingle for the purposes of courtship, dating, and all that. I think we need to get them in a safe area where they feel like if you came here, you've come here to date. People that arrived are arriving looking for a partner. So this is a space that it's okay to do it. I think you got to give them a place where it's okay to do it. That's what I think. I think you got to give them a space to do it, and it doesn't need to feel so locked in that it's their church home. And I think if you have like all churches within a 100-mile radius doing it and it's one event, then the chances are better the person you're going to meet is not from your local church. So then it's not going to mess with your church home feeling, because your church home has to be a safe place. It has to be the place that you worship God in peace. And I think that's exactly what the Bible study pastor was saying. He's basically saying this is a place where people come to learn about God in peace. They're not here to do anything else. So I get what he's saying. He was a bit harsh about it, I'll be honest. The way he came at the conversation, it was almost like chopping the heads kind of thing. So I was like, oh, he could have been nicer about it. He could have been softer about it, but he's a wild one. But that's just how his personality is. But I think he made his point. Don't do that up in my Bible study is what he was saying. Let's see. Yeah, so that's what I think. I just wanted to get y'all's opinion. I wanted to gauge it. Like I said, I just came off of a call with my my Christian fellowship group. We just all met in person. Everybody came from all over the country, plus some people came from all over the world, globally, and everybody was meeting. And it was meant to be just general fellowship. But because men and women were there, stuff started popping off for some people, other people not so much. And then there were people that were just kind of talking through like, how can we do this better so that we don't miss opportunities? So I thought I wanted to hear from you guys on it, on should we even be flirting? Should we be? And here's my thought. Here's the thing that I'm observing inside of the body of Christ when it comes to dating, Christians trying to date other Christians. I think there's the worldly way of dating, which is so much like there is no intention at all there. And then there is the like Christian way of dating, which is like we have to be so serious, right? And because people are coming out of the world into the faith, and people there isn't like a list of rules now, because we're in 2025 where everything is nuts. So there isn't like a list of rules. So you end up with men and women being friends / maybe more, and then somebody is getting mixed up and someone is not. Like someone is still friends and someone thinks they're dating. Someone likes someone and someone doesn't like the other person. We're getting all of this half in and half out on both sides. And so when I think about it, given that I'm the person who used to be like the BC Days flirter, I think that I think flirting is still useful, but I tell you what, the problem comes in when you're flirting and the ground isn't laid and people don't know what you're doing, and so you don't know where you're going. That's actually the problem. I was watching a podcast maybe 4 months ago, and basically the girl was saying Christians should not flirt. And I was like, when I first saw it, I was like, I was annoyed by it when I first saw it because that was kind of the title. And then I was like, and then when I listened to the whole episode, I understood what she was saying. And actually, I came into agreement with her because she was saying Christians shouldn't flirt. But then when you listen to it, it's like you shouldn't try to be dating, like fiddling around and having no intention. That I agreed with. So I was like, oh, wait, she's saying if you're flirting and it's empty and you don't have intentions, that's leading people on. That's wrong. I'm like, oh, 100% agreed. So if you're going to be flirting, it needs to be that there's communication, that I like you, we're interested, we're moving forward. Like the conversation needs to be clear, that it can't just be people giggling, laughing, twirling their hair, guys saying you're so cute, this and that, but then there's no intention. Because that, I think, is the problem. I think that's the problem. I don't think it's specifically the flirt that's the problem. It is the flirting with the lack of intention that creates confusion. It breeds confusion. So flirting and lack of intention, confusion. I also think male and female friends with no clarity breeds confusion. I think it's the same thing. You might as well call it flirting. You got male and female together, no clarity, chit-chatting all the time, doing all this stuff all the time, doing all this stuff. Eventually, what? Is that something or is that nothing? If it's nothing, okay. Why are you even talking? Go find someone same sex. Talk to them. All right, let's see these questions. So that's the thing. The thing with it is, in the biblical days, I feel like people just didn't do that. Like, when you came up to a girl, you're coming up to a girl because you're like, oh, you're coming up to her because she's hot. And you like her, and you have an intention, which is, okay, let's take her off the market. And then let's do that quickly. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's how it went before. But nowadays, the psychology is so messed up because we have so much visual stimuli, and all day long we get like images on our Instagram and our TikTok and our everything that says this person is so hot, but that doesn't mean anything. Discharge the thought. We are bombarded with this person's so hot, that person's so hot, this person's so hot, and we're having to just discharge images all day long. So then when we're in the world and we're trying to meet someone, and the person happens to be physically attractive, they're in our orbit, and then we happen to be communicating with them, we've gotten accustomed to discharging images from our mind all day from people that are attractive that we aren't trying to really move forward with, that then when we have an opportunity to be with someone, we let confusion breed. I think that's what happens. All right, so let's see. Someone said selfish people will fool you all day long until they get what they want. Don't be the selfish person fooling yourself. The next person says, look up the book of Numbers and notice I don't have yours. That's one of my faves. Oh, that's funny. Perhaps flirting from a woman could be after the man's initial, sort of like drop in the hanky type of thing. I think you're trying to say that the woman could like just drop something and see if the guy picks it up and see if he helps her out, like damsel in distress. I mean, it kind of goes back to the same thing. Even if you drop the handkerchief and you're trying to see, is the guy gonna like take a step? At the end of the day, once he picks it up, you still don't know if he likes you. He could just be a nice person picking up a handkerchief. It doesn't mean anything. So it's not real information. And I think that is actually modern day trouble, is the fact that everything we do, we are like doing it on a routine, and it's not actually something that we're doing intentionally for a purpose. So a lot of purposeless behavior, and then a lot of confusion gets breeded. A lot of time gets wasted. A lot of feelings get hurt. I think that's what's happening right now. That's what I think is. All right, let's see. Somebody said, just be real. Someone said, vanity is idolatry too. Someone said, I see problems come when people have soul ties. Boom, soul ties. That's why I keep my heart pure. Flirting in Sunday service is dangerous. I would have said, I'm here to date your daughter. Huh? Not if you're married. I don't get that one. I don't understand. I think if you just attend church services for the sake of following Yeshua and you're on your mission, God will put you in front of your future spouse. You just have to let God handle your coming together. I think that's a way of thinking about it. I think if you're active in the community, doing the things that you do, I think the opportunities, like if you're serving in the community, feeding the homeless, whatever your heart is content doing for your ministry, if you're out actively doing that for hours outside of Sunday, I'm not talking about Sunday service, but talking about Wednesday night, Thursday evening, Saturday morning, if you're out doing your community service and you're bumping into other like-minded believers who are doing community service, that's a way to find someone. See, that's a way to find someone. Usually they're going to be active in your same church. So it kind of goes back to the same problem though. If you're finding someone and they're literally in your church, I think the only risk is you're meeting up with them, it doesn't work out, and then they're so part of your inner circle that, I don't know. For me, I don't know. I mean, personally, like in Latin dancing, I had a rule for like 10 years that I was like, oh no, I don't date and dance. And people know that. People would come hit on me. I'm like, no, I don't date and dance. They're like, why not? I'm like, because this is my hobby. This is what I love. And this is my safe place. I was like, no, I don't date and dance. I just dance and I go home. For 10 years, I had that rule. So eventually I moved away from the rule because I figured this is what I love. And if somebody else loves it, then maybe it's a partnership. But so I stopped using that rule for a while. But eventually, y'all know what I did? I went back to that rule. I'm like, I don't date and dance now. And the reason why I don't now, it's different. The reason why I don't date and dance now is I'm a saved Christian living a surrendered lifestyle. And to be honest, I don't know anybody in dance who's like that. People are Christian, but they're not saved Christian surrendered lifestyle. They don't even have those things in common. So dating and dance is just like, even if they're Christian, it's just dating in the world. It's the same thing. So I don't do it now for that reason. Back when I was choosing to not do it, actually I was not a Christian. I just thought it breeded confusion. I thought it was, even though that wasn't my church, you have to remember, for me, that was my safe place because I didn't go to church at that time. So that was just my safe place. And I thought it would bring confusion into the place that gave me peace. So you could probably pretty much say, for a person who wasn't a believer, that was kind of like my idolatrous type of thing. Like that's the place I went to like go hang out, just sit down after a long week and be peaceful. So to be there and then be surrounded by, I dated this one and that one and this one and that one, that just didn't work for me. So I didn't want that. I didn't even want that. So I just didn't do it. So for the longest time, I never dated and danced. And I thought that was the smart thing. And then of course I tried it. And then I realized there's a reason why I never did this. It doesn't work. All right, let's see. The feelings mutual. Forget what others think and say it's your inner satisfaction, not theirs. Take back to old school, passing little notes. You know what? I'm with Mr. U on that one. I think we should take it back to old school. Write a little note, pass somebody the little note with a little thing that says, "Do you like me? Check yes or no." I mean, he didn't write that exactly, but I'm saying it my own way. I think that's the best way to date. Start with that. Here's a phone number. Put it on a piece of paper, my name, slide him the note, and the note should say, "Do you like me? Check yes or no." And that way, the person's either going to respond, they're going to call you, they've checked yes, they like you, they slide it back, They slide it back with their phone number, and that's the end of the story. Now, when you're talking, you're not friends. You both mutually like each other. It's super clear. And if you have things in common, you're on the right path. So that is probably the simplest and brightest way to do this. That's what I think. All right, let's see. Let's see what we got here. I'm sure people can come off flirtatious, but some genuinely might not have bad intentions behind it. I agree with you. Some people are probably flirting and don't have any bad intentions. I would describe myself that way, but here's the problem. If you flirt and the person is not receiving it, it is a problem because it's not reciprocated, right? So then you're basically harassing someone. That's why you need to have the little love note. See, back to the love note. It solves everything. Yeah, ain't no school like the old school. Yeah, old school is what works. All right, guys. Let me get your last couple of questions in here. Let's see what you guys got. I might turn up and do Exodus after this. Let me see where we at in Exodus. I might turn up and do Exodus. Let's see. Ooh. Ooh, Exodus chapter 7. All right. I think I got all the questions in. Hey, you guys, if you guys want to do Exodus, hop back on. Hop back on for Exodus in a minute. Exodus, I'm going to stop talking now. Yay, Exodus. Yeah, I'm going to hang up and start a new live because I need to separate the topic, right? You know, I'm not up for heavy video editing right now. I could do it, but it's too labor intensive. So I'm going to hang up this live. I'm going to restart the live only on YouTube. So if you're on another platform, we're only going to be on YouTube. So we're going to restart Exodus chapter 7 on YouTube. Everybody hop on. Okay, talk to you guys in a minute. Bye, everybody.